For the last 3 years, I've used the Elgato HD60S Plus with great success. I love this capture card, and although it's not perfect, I certainly have a great time using it. In fact, I like it so much I bought it a second time after I broke my first one. However, this capture card is not cheap. It's still nearly £100 after some years being on sale. That's a lot for those who may want to get into capturing gameplay footage. Other options and older Elgato capture cards exist, but what if you only had £30 or less to spend? You could get this, the DIGITNOW 4K USB capture card, which I found on eBay for just over £20. Although it claims 4K support and output, the page for it is rather suspect. I also found no mention of its Hertz output, a very bad omen if I ever saw one. It does have USB 3 support, and it does seem to work on all PC platforms, which should please many people. Well, it's time to pit the two against each other. Let's find out together. We may as well jump into the deep end with the PlayStation 5. For both capture cards, I've made sure to record at 60Hz at OBS's 1800p resolution at 100 megabits per second so that we can get a good look at the footage. Let's check out Man Remastered, first in its 4K fidelity mode and then its 60 frames per second performance mode. Using the Elgato first, the game looks pretty good. Although the Elgato is only passing through the 4K visuals to downscale as 1080p, it's still an upgrade over 1080p native. I've enjoyed using the HD60S Plus, and this footage certainly looks good. When we switch over to the 4K USB capture card, the downgrade in visuals is not as bad as I was expecting. Although the visuals look a bit over-sharpened and the colours a bit off, I would argue for £22 this is serviceable. However, when I switch to the performance mode, suddenly the 4K USB capture card falls apart. The game is still capturing at 30 frames per second, whereas the Elgato displays the game in its 60 frames per second mode as you'd expect. What's going on? Seems as if the 4K USB capture card is limited to 30Hz after trying to figure out the problem. If you think it's just 4K and not other resolutions, keep watching. Resident Evil 2 Remake only works at 60 frames per second on the PlayStation 5, and being a horror game, it has a lot of dark areas that can mess up certain video capture cards. The Elgato handles Resident Evil 2 like a champ, giving us a smooth 60 frames per second and handling the various shades of contrast well. Although not perfect, most of you would be happy about the footage coming from the Elgato. The 4K USB capture really struggled here, I mean struggled. Other than the lack of 60Hz support, the graphics really fell apart here. There's clear artifacts in the recording despite me putting both at 100 megabits per second at 1800p resolution, and the contrast is making the picture appear grayer than the Elgato. In fact, here's a screenshot of the two back to back to really highlight the differences, as I was quite taken aback with what I was seeing. There's no doubt about it, Elgato is the clear winner. Gran Turismo Sport is a racing game I love to play. You need to be given the best tools to succeed, and the Elgato allows you to play at your best. 60 frames per second playback, great colours and good visuals are what it provides. The 4K USB capture card looks okay, but the 30Hz playback hampers the gameplay and enjoyment. The colours are a bit off and the over-sharpened look returns. At this point, you might be asking about input delay. The Elgato was spot on with minimal lag and the gameplay was enjoyable. The 4K USB capture card unfortunately varied from game to game. I found games that used 60 frames per second were much worse in terms of input lag. Not enough to be unplayable, but not enjoyable either. Here are the other games I tried for the PlayStation 5, and I'll let you hear the audio for comparison. I'll see you at the PlayStation 2 testing.
Dying. People are suffering. Soon, they'll starve. All because of a terraforming system that's spiraling out of control. And only I can fix it. Only I have your genetic code. It won't be long before we hit the point of no return. We should keep going.
Might want to grab more of these plants along the way.
Yeah, good idea.
Your suit seems to be working nicely, blending right in. There is the assistant, and there is the infobot. Whew, masterful work. Now get out of there and decrypt that thing.
Where is the infobot?
Your ship is up ahead. Where are you going?
Come on, let's keep this show going. Catch a ride.
So much for smiling and waving, huh?
I would bet the blogs are behind this, or the Cragmites, or Dr. Nefarious.
Ha, no way! Nefarious has been retired longer than we have.
Watch out, the swamp something
Let's try the PlayStation 2 next. The games on here were played in 480i or 576i and of course 480p. Interlaced video needs high frame rates to be displayed properly on a display, and with the 4K USB capture only offering 30Hz, how will this affect the footage? Using Colin McRae Rally 04 first, this game works at 50Hz only. As a result, the 4K USB capture card has a battle on its hands. Using the OSSC's Line 4X mode, the image is more jumpy than I'm used to, and half of the frames are missing, messing up the text and picture output in general. The smoothness is also gone too. For reference, here's what the game should look like when using the Elgato. Much better. By the way, do not use the Dolby Pro Logic sound features on the 4K USB capture card. The audio is absolutely horrible. Listen for yourself.
Long 3 right tightens to 270. Long 3 left opens. Left tightens to 3. 50, very long 6 right tightens.
Soulcalibur III can take advantage of 60Hz in the PAL version, and although the visuals are slightly better, ultimately the Elgato pulls ahead, especially with these interlaced frame rates. The interlacing of the OSSC works better with 60Hz I find, and the Elgato handles it well. It's frustrating that the 4K USB capture lacks 60Hz. It would have turned a disappointing product into something someone could have used as their first capture card. Tekken 4 has progressive scan support, and thus I used it. The 480p was boosted to 960p thanks to the 2x mode via the OSSC. The 4K USB capture card looked decent enough thanks to the progressive scan mode, but the colours were too saturated and it was lacking a crispness that I'm used to. The Elgato not only got the smooth 60 frames per second gameplay you'd expect from a Tekken game, it just looked crisper and more correct, if that makes sense. I was certainly wowed with the visuals from the Elgato, and it played beautifully too. I have a few more games to show you, so check out the visuals and the sound output of the two capture cards. I also did some PlayStation 1 testing, so keep watching to see the differences for that platform, and I will catch you at the end. And there we are. These two capture cards compared, and well, it is very clear which one is better. The more I got into the comparisons, the more the Elgato girded its loins. It really is a night and day difference in all forms of video resolutions and frame rates. Not to mention, it sounds better. Way better. If the 4K USB capture card had 60Hz support, I'd actually say it was a decent start for those wanting to capture gameplay footage, not to mention it worked with the OSSC, which is always a plus. As it is, I do suggest you buy a different capture card if you are serious about recording and capturing gameplay footage. Be very careful when buying capture cards that are generic or licensed by third parties. What do you folks think? Tell me in the comments, and I will see you soon.